Hello and welcome to Brand X Reviews. This one I'm going to be talking about the news that's just come out with regards to Matt Reeves, the film director. There's kind of a broader story here, and I'll get into a bit of it. Some of it's like industry news, and I don't tend to get too much into that. It's not my area of expertise, basically. But on this channel, obviously, for many years, we've been covering the superhero genre. And although I've stepped away from it in the last few years, given the pretty terrible direction that it's taken with just the quality of the films in general, and also the woke narrative that they've been like strongly, quite heavily pursuing inside and outside of the actual movies and TV shows that they've spun off. The one that I have stayed with, in fact, it's not even stayed with; it's kind of new. Is the Matt Reeves, Robert Pattinson Batman movie, and whatever they're going to do next with that. I did watch the Joker movie from 2019. I wasn't a huge fan of it. I can see why people liked it. I'm not going to start criticising it, but it wasn't really for me. But there's also possibly some of that implicated in this going forward. We know that that movie's getting a sequel, but that's a different topic. So with this one, I'm talking about Matt Reeves and the Batman sequel and where they're going to go. And this is good news as well. It's all good news, all positive stuff to talk about here. So this, well, the main article, because a few people have been talking about this, and rightly so, because it is big news, but it comes from, it seems to be coming from this Deadline article that came out yesterday as I'm recording this. Now, the point is, anyway, Matt Reeves has basically been given a really nice contract as a writer, director, and a producer, I believe, going forward, not just with Batman and DC, but just in general. So obviously this is a good sign for the Batman sequel, because there'd been a bit of talk recently about, it's been greenlit, and then actually no, it hasn't been greenlit at all. They've just kind of put a placeholder out there, but here it really has been, because contracts are being drawn up and signed at the moment, or have already been quite recently from what I'm understanding. So some of the stuff that's been said, I'm looking down because I'm just reading this article from Deadline. There's some interesting points. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'll just kind of blitz through it anyway. But yeah, basically, obviously he had a lot of success with the Planet of the Apes trilogy. So that was a franchise. So I guess Warner Brothers are wanting to go ahead with him doing that with Batman. So it'll have sequels and spin-offs, that kind of thing. There is talk about a Penguin series on HBO Max, a mini-series, which I don't subscribe to anything like that, but it'd be interesting to see. If anything was going to make me want to watch one of these spin-off TV shows, I think that one could work. So I'm open-minded for that, because I don't normally do spin-off TV shows. I think movies should stay as movies and continue the story as movies, but I could make exceptions. There's also talk about an Arkham TV series as well. I'm not quite sure where this is all going, how this is all going to fit together, when we're going to get it, who's going to be in it, that kind of thing. It's still up in the air. But from what I understand, Colin Farrell is returning for the TV spin-off as the Penguin, the Oswald Cobblepot character. But he's also going to be in the sequel. If you've seen the Batman film from earlier this year, you'll understand, obviously, that's fundamentally where they're going with the next movie. So it'd be silly not to do that. And he was so good in that movie as well. Really, if you've not seen the movie yet, if you've got maybe superhero fatigue, or if you're thinking, we don't need another Batman, definitely rethink that, because I really enjoyed this movie, the one that came out earlier this year. So basically, from the sounds of it, what they're trying to do, what Warner Brothers are trying to do with Matt Reeves, is similar to what they've done with a lot of other really big movie makers and actors and directors in the past. Obviously, Christopher Nolan was one that they worked with quite a lot. Now, I know there was, speaking of Christopher Nolan, I know there was some issue, obviously, with them taking movies out of cinemas and putting them onto TV. And that was something that they wanted to do with Christopher Nolan. From what I understand, had a bit of a falling out with the studio about that, understandably so, because he's a traditional movie maker, and movies should be seen on a cinema screen, not streaming. Even if you think that's a viable business strategy, evidence shows that box office receipts are really where the business should be, COVID or not. So obviously that was something that was a big deal. So it seems to me here like Warner Brothers are kind of investing themselves, going back to the more well established traditional sense of movie making. In some of the statements they've been making, they kind of likened some of their previous relationships, ongoing relationships with movie makers such as Clint Eastwood, as something that they think is a very good business strategy. They've actually said that as well. I'm going to go into some quotes in a moment, but that is a good example because Clint Eastwood has been making movies with Warner Brothers for a long time, decades. I mean, just going off the top of my head, I can think of obviously he didn't direct it, but the original Dirty Harry was Warner Brothers. If you get a Clint Eastwood box set, most of the films that he's done since the 60s and 70s, such as Where Eagles Dare and beyond, were Warner Brothers. He did quite a lot with Paramount and Universal from memory, but the bulk of it was Warner Brothers. So that's why they're citing this here, because they know that this kind of business strategy is a tried and tested one. So if they want success with Matt Reeves, not necessarily for the Batman, I know that's what I'm talking about here, but there's a broader story here. It's a good idea to do that. So I'll read this quote out anyway from the Deadline article. So I think this was a quote from Warner Brothers. So Warner's always had a tradition of being a home base for filmmakers, Clint Eastwood being preeminent among them. We want to continue that tradition, especially with people we've had success with. We want to create an atmosphere where we get repeat business with these filmmakers. We feel any studio built on the basis of having a roster of filmmakers working at the studio over and over again is a good business strategy. We see it as just essential for the health of the studio to be a vibrant place for writers/directors and for signature filmmakers to do multiple movies with us. They say the studio will empower Reeves to become a cornerstone filmmaker there. So yeah, that sounds really good. I mean, what does that mean to us? I realise this is all industry talk, but to us as the end customer getting these movies, it has a much better chance. It's not a guarantee for success. I mean, you can have some pretty crap films that are made with this kind of business strategy, and that's when contracts start to get kind of reassessed. There's a tried and tested history of that as well. But generally speaking, when you've got this kind of repeat business, especially off the back of a success, they're not just signing up and that's a success. But when you've got success already, and then you lock them in like this, and the filmmakers actually, they're not just turning up for a paycheck, they're wanting to keep coming back and back and have more and more success and build a career. For us, that means we're getting good movies. So this is very good news if you liked the Batman movie from earlier this year. So, and also, I mean, like I say, it is a broader story. It's a good story. It's a good bit of news as well, just from the point of view that Warner Brothers seem to be understanding. It's not all about just put any old rubbish together and put it on streaming and just slap the Batman logo on it and people will watch it. I mean, that to a degree that's true, but over time, I mean, we've seen this with a lot of the CW network with all the garbage that they threw out there. They figured if they just got activists to write their scripts and direct their movies, you get things like the Batwoman TV series, you get things like the Batgirl movie that they can't even show to anyone. They've had to sack the entire thing off because it was garbage. I mean, they haven't said because it was woke garbage, but I'm reading between the lines there. It does obviously show that you can't just keep slapping these franchise logos like Marvel and Doctor Who and Star Trek on crap that's just there as propaganda and expect people to keep turning up. I mean, a lot of people will, and a lot of people don't kind of see what's going on. They think that these movies are just as valid as everything that came before they started doing this. But a lot of people are really kind of waking up to this and thinking, nah, I'm not going to give your studios money anymore, despite how good it looks. So it's good anyway. Like I say, it's not a guarantee for success. Just like being woke and having films done by activists isn't necessarily a guarantee of failure. Some of those movies have done okay for themselves. But yeah, it's like I say, it's the end customer for us. I know there's a lot of business talk I've kind of got into here, industry talk, but translated, that basically means we've got investment in quality, and that's what we want. So, like I say, I'm really happy about this. I did like the Batman movie. I'll just kind of go into that briefly. I know I've done reviews of them on the channel before. I did very much like the movie, to be honest. I wasn't expecting to. It wasn't a low standard that I had, and therefore I was happy with it. I was hoping it'd be good, and I did get kind of a good vibe from the trailers and a lot of the information that was coming out of the few years when this thing was in production, because it took quite a long time to come out. You can go back to my videos from 2 years ago, and those trailers dropped. I was quite open-minded then. So obviously when the movie came out, and I watched it in the cinema back in March, and then when it came out to buy very shortly later on, like 3 months later, I watched it straight away. I didn't wait, because sometimes with movies I have to wait, even if it's like James Bond that came out to buy like 2 months after it was in the cinema. That was mental. And it's like, it feels weird. I've just bought this because it's out to buy, but I really don't want to watch it because it's like so fresh in my memory. I didn't have that with the Batman movie, to be honest. 3-hour movie, watched it again 2 months, 3 months later, thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'll probably watch it again in a few months' time. So, pretty good endorsement there anyway. So, obviously, I'm really chuffed that they're going forward with this, because, like I say, there was some talk recently about whether or not has this been greenlit or not, because we were getting conflicting information. This is pretty much confirmation that they are, well, pretty much confirmation, either it is or it isn't. It is confirmation that they are doing a sequel and some spin-offs. I mean, there's many a slip betwixt a cup and a lip, but at the same time, as things stand right now, it's confirmation that they are doing a sequel. And sequels and going forward, and Matt Reeves himself is going to be going on to do other great stuff as well. So we'll see where that goes. Like I say, there's other DC stuff coming out. I'm not interested. They kind of shot the bed with a lot of those movies earlier on. I did a review of the Snyderverse movies. They were okay, but then the stuff that came after Suicide Squad in 2016, and the other stuff, just either the ones that I watched I didn't like, and the rest of it I just didn't even watch because I just didn't like the look of them. So there's a lot of other stuff. I won't be covering it on this channel, really. I can't see myself doing any videos on that. And like I say, the Joker movie, it was okay. I just wasn't a huge fan of it. It wasn't my movie. To me, it just felt like a remake of King of Comedy that had been repurposed and repackaged, and they just slapped a Joker logo on there, and loads of people thought it was a legitimate DC movie when it's not. So yeah, I'll leave it there because I'm kind of going off on one now. So well, yeah, Brandex Reviews. You can follow us on the channel, obviously, and you can subscribe. You can like the video. We are doing a Halloween special series again this year. It's the 10th annual. It's confusing. It's the 9th anniversary, but it's the 10th annual because that's how maths works. Because we started in 2013, and we've done a Halloween special every year. I did do a teaser video yesterday, but I put it up really late at night. I don't think many people saw it, so I'm going to edit it in here towards the end of the video. So there's still a few minutes left in this video, but I'm just going to get into the Halloween special. And yeah, pretty much leave it there. Thank you very much for watching. Okay, it's that time of year again. Brandex Reviews is happy to announce there will be a 10th annual Halloween special. First of all, I'm very sorry about the terrible animation here. What can I say? We're running on a low budget, so it's stock footage only. But anyway, the point of this is we do every year some horror-related videos, and this has been ongoing since the beginning of the channel, as you can see here. These are all the videos in our playlist. You can check them out for previous years. From 2013, when the channel started, we were doing horror-related reviews every Halloween. So it's a Halloween special, basically. Some years we have a specific theme. For example, one year we covered found footage movies. Another year, I think it was 2020, we did all 1980s horror movies, that kind of thing. We don't usually announce what we're going to do until the actual videos themselves drop. So we're kind of keeping that a bit of a secret, but we do have a plan, myself and my co-reviewer, The Core. We will be here in late October.
The way it works is every night, depending on how many videos we do, leading up to Halloween night itself, we drop a video about 6 PM, something like that, and that's what we're going to do this year. Can't say how many videos we're going to do, or like I say, what it's going to be about exactly. You're going to have to wait. This is just a very early announcement video, but check it back anyway. Subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much.
Very quick 10-second promo and affiliated link for you with a discount code Tactical Soap. We've got Maverick, Bond and Durden. Check out the video description for a link and a discount code.